Good afternoon, all. CamelbackTrading.org coming to you this Tuesday afternoon, May 17th. We're looking at Window Traders Market Profile, SPY, IWM, and Triple Qs. And, I'll tell you, this waiting game, waiting for, Powell to speak all the time is such a joke. What's a bigger joke is he just continually lying about soft landings and this and that. He's only fooling himself. But what's really interesting is he didn't say anything differently. The first question was asked about 75 basis points, and he said no, and the market popped initially in J, and then it just pushed down in J and K, which really surprised me. I didn't expect that. But then we rallied and did what I thought we would do, which is close above last week's high. I said if he doesn't forcefully say, 75 is on the table, this market's going to continue to try to grind higher. We did take out last week's low. Russell took out last week high. So we're into balance on the weekly. We're up in the daily. Qs took out last week's, IWM took out last week's high. They're back into balance. Qs did not. In fact, triple Qs are $3, just about a little under $3 away from last week's high, from today's high. Qs and Russell price pro, but just barely. We end only 8 wide. We talk about price vacuums and voids. My goodness. I mean, above today's high, we don't have anything to an 11 wide POC, which is $2.50 away. And then almost $4 away is the daily high, all the way back on May 6th. And it's just as bad to the downside. Again, I won't ignore 8 wide, but I won't carry it forward. So technically, my first downside destination is J's low, which is the afternoon pullback low, and then today's low. So voids all over the place. Had a good day. We saw the market well. I stayed out of it in J. I took some small longs in K. That's it. Most of my trade, I didn't do anything in L or M. So in A period, again, I was giving the buyers the benefit of the doubt with the higher value. Took small calls as we got closer to the gap fill with better risk reward. 4 calls, and they worked out twice. And then things changed. So B took out A's low, rallied. So on rallies, I was taking shorts in B. I didn't think the gap would hold. I was doing 404 puts, and those worked out. C period, stuck with the 404 puts because we had single prints to start. And then once we filled those, we were still one-time framing down. D period, again, did the same thing. I said, as long as we're staying below C, I'll short. Made small on a couple on those, and then D popped C's high. This short game was over, at least for now. Did nothing in E. F period. Didn't think we're going to go get the opening. In fact, I didn't think we were going to get the opening before he started his interview, Powell. I thought once we filled single prints, we would, in D or C, we would stay between A's high and C's low. So I was a little surprised. I had a decent short in F I made money on, 408s. And again in G, 408s, because there's just no tempo. But I was surprised we took out the day's high. Now, we didn't get much extension above A in G, H, and I. And then finally in J, when he started his interview, all things went haywire. And the only other trade I took then, like I said, was in K period, some longs later when we got some direction to the upside. And we actually started with single prints. They ended up filling. And believe it or not, I went out of the money. I went with the 410 calls and made money on that. So most of these trades were small on the day. Still turned out to be a decent day. But it is very painful kind of waiting for this guy to speak, and like it's just ridiculous. As far as destinations, upside, today's high 408.57, then 411.08, 10 wide from the 6th, and then 414.80 daily high, and then right there, or right below there actually, is I'll look on the chart, the 20-day moving average we're going to get involved, and I think we have a good chance of getting that. For the downside, we have today's afternoon pullback low of 403.50, which was J's low, 402.58 daily low, 400.79, yesterday's 9 wide POC, never got hit. It becomes a downside destination. What else was fascinating was in both J and K period, we had exactly $4 ranges. You think those algorithms are set to visual areas? That's pretty interesting. Now, let's go to the charts. So the bulls are definitely accomplishing something here today, the last couple of days. So here's the weekly. We're in balance. Now, I said this, again, we don't say it after it happens. We say it before the fact. I said, I think last week's low was a short-term low, and I said, I think the odds of taking out last week's high are going to be good. And I said, if we do that, I think we're going to trade in eventually a 3-week range, which would be May 2nd's range, and then obviously last week's low. And that's a huge $45 range, right? But I think that's what we're going to see over these next month prior to the Fed. That's what I'm kind of thinking. For now, I'm going to call it a 2-week balance to see if we get more legs into that week. If we do, it'll firmly be a 3-week balance. But for now, I'm calling it a 2-week balance. We'll see how the week progresses. The monthly's still down, don't forget. And the daily, I'm calling up, right? We came out of this balance, took out the weekly high. So here's that day. There's a price vacuum in there. Now, that day's high is 1480. The 20-day moving average is at 414.40 right now. Now, I'm not going to say that's going to happen tomorrow. We might get some more digestion inside of today's range. You know, somebody asked me, what do I expect for tomorrow? I said I think it's a very, very low percentage to take out yesterday's low. I said I think it's a small percentage to maybe gap higher. And I said I think it's a wide percentage to open up inside today's range. I mean, to gap low was a less than 1% chance. Not to take out yesterday's low, but to open below it. I do think we're going to eventually test this day's high and the 20. And again, I do think also this day's high, which is May 4th, and the yearly low, which is May 12th, think about that, at $45 range. I think we're going to trade between there and here for the next month, believe it or not, until the Fed meeting. Again, that's what I'm saying. We'll see if that's going to pan out or not. Thanks for the likes and subscribing. Don't forget, this is an option expiration week. Hope you had a good day trading. Enjoy your evening. And we'll speak prior to the opening tomorrow.